Robocop Radio Podcast. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
And welcome back to the show, Jason. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
From Bayou City Geeks.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my co-host, once again, could not make it. He's works from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, so I told him, I was like, dude, we got to get you another job.
Right, that's
real.
That's some hours there.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a job, he's working, so he's just trying to, get his bearings back, and, he's getting married and everything, so.
Yeah, I remember last time you came on, he was fixing to get married, he was moving, and.
Yeah, so, he actually proposed,
awesome.
got the ring and everything, so. He's either thinking about either getting married here or doing it in Cabo. And I'm just like, well, I mean, hey, if you got the money to go to Cabo,
Destination wedding, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, if not, stay your ass here.
I think it would be the Texas thing to do is get married in a Whataburger. That's like a Texas church.
Go to Corpus Christi.
Oh yeah, go to Corpus Christi. Yeah.
But Robert, we will get you on the show eventually.
Yes.
Because you guys are always welcome.
You're always welcome. You need to come on and do our show too.
Yeah.
Especially like when we're at a con or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, we got Compalooza. It's like about 16 weeks away.
Yeah.
It's coming up fast. So
you're here before you know it.
Yeah.
And they did some of their first guest announcements this week. Finally,
a lot of anime
some voice actors from My Hero Academia, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I know my friend will be.
What?
Very, very
I've never heard of One Piece until recently.
Really?
Apparently, it's like this big thing.
Yeah, Luffy.
It is.
Yeah.
I never heard of it.
A friend of mine named his son Luffy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how I missed it. I just never heard
One
of
Piece.
it.
It's like a pirate version of Naruto, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they got numerous video games, manga, TV shows. I mean, I'd heard of One Piece. What's this? Like a mid-2000s thing?
Yeah, I went and I looked it up, and I was like, wow, this has been around a long time. I guess I had never...
Dragon Ball Z's been around 30 years.
Yeah.
30, 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, I'm like, that's
and
crazy.
they're still making new stuff for that.
Well, we were just talking pre-show, there's so much stuff out there, it's hard to keep up with it, so maybe this is just one of those things that I just never picked up on.
Yeah, and really, like, I don't really watch as much anime, if any. I mean, the last anime I really watched was the Voltron.
Right.
And the Ultraman that's on Netflix. Yeah, I watched that. And, yeah, but really, I've never watched One Piece or One Punch Man, My Hero Academia. Never watched those. I mean, I've just kind of stuck to the classics.
Right.
Same here. That's like the other day, I put in Yu Yu Hakusho, and I just started watching the Dark Tournament.
Yeah. Good show.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned about Dragon Ball through him and through my son now, so I'm starting to kind of learn what that is. And,
I used to see the pictures of the video game back in the old issues of Nintendo Power. And I was like, what is this? And then when they started showing them in 96, on the local WB stations, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I remember seeing that video game. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But you just can't keep up with it all. So,
no.
So how's y'all's week's been? How you been, Jason?
My week has been pretty good, getting back in the gym, I had food poisoning.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, and then it returned. And then so I was just, this week has been, me just kind of getting my bearings back and everything, and just, trying to drum up business. I work in mosaic tile sales and job recruiting now. So, doing that and, just, living life, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to, grow the show, of course. And, it's always,
right.
It's
kind of like last week we had Brandon from Colt 45 on, and
yes.
I was kind of recovering from. I went to the doctor and got antibiotics. I couldn't shake the upper respiratory, which seems like I might have given to Matt now. And, so I was kind of just starting to feel better. Then I go to work Monday, and we had a fire in the electric room Sunday at the store. So they lost power for 8 hours. So I walk in Monday, it's clean up. It's crazy. Everyone's pissed off. Yeah, it just puts everybody in a bad mood.
Oh yeah.
And so we talked about how January was the Monday of the new year, and it seemed like it lasted forever. Well, this last week felt like it lasted forever.
Yes.
It's okay, can we just get through Valentine's and get this week over with? It's but here we are on Saturday night. Now the week is finally coming to an end, because this was the week that just felt like it lasted 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I already hate February now for the rest of eternity, but that's a whole other story.
What, Valentine's Day?
Well, just in general,
Oh, I love February. It's my birthday in about 9 days.
Nice.
Well, people with
24.
birthdays, I don't hate them. Just, well, I mean, a lot of, the ex-wife, our wedding anniversary was in February. So now, God. And then she left last year in February, so February can just take a hike.
Yeah, suck it,
except for everybody's birthdays.
There we go.
So,
hey man, you know what? It's like this. I have a friend going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
You know, where, you know, he was just blindsided. Where his wife basically told him one day, I'm not in love with you, but I love you.
Right.
And that's
What's that mean?
That's
Right.
fucked up. Yeah. And the thing is, you know, he had supported her through her, you know, dissertation and PhD, and, you know, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, what, you know, why did she marry you? Because they just got married, I want to say, right at the time when you got divorced.
Right.
So, I mean, I was like, wow. And, I mean, he was crying. I mean, I was like, wait, what's wrong? He's like, yeah, you know, my wife wants a divorce. I'm like, holy shit. So it's already finalized, and, you know, he can go tap whatever strange he comes across.
Right. Wow. It's crazy. You know, and old Matt, sorry that you got sick from hanging out with me too much.
Yeah. Yesterday was pretty bad. You know, but so we stayed home for Valentine's Day.
Good.
And and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna order one of those heart-shaped pizzas. That'll make everything.
A friend of mine works at Star
Valentine's.
Pizza.
Oh yeah. I should have went there, but so I order the pizza. It gets here from Pizza Hut, and I open it up, and it's a regular pizza. And so I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'm not a complainer usually. I feel awkward about complaining because I'm kind of in like an industry where I get complaints a lot.
Yeah.
And I hate to dish that out on people. So I was just going to call and say, hey, did you run out? And then just see what they said, you know, be passive about it. And they never answered. I called like 6 times. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what my mom does. And it's like, I mess with my mom. I was like, man, you know, Mom, you're Hispanic. But I was like, you're like socks with Crocs white whenever it comes to complaining about an issue. And you'll send an email and whatever. So I was like, you know, I'm going to channel my mother. I sent an email. I've been buying for them for 10 years. And it was Valentine's Day. And explained the whole thing, made a big deal out of it. And I got 2 free pizzas today, 2 free large pizzas coupon. So, heck yeah, you know,
Squeaky
it was worth
wheel,
it.
man. Squeaky wheel.
Hell
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with free pizza.
Yeah, man.
I mean, pizza's like one of the greatest fucking things on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right next to like, you know, Eva Longoria or whatever.
Hey, Corpus Christi native.
Corpus Christi. There we go.
And her
Texas.
And her first concert was Megadeth.
Really?
Yeah.
That is badass.
I let Dave Mustaine know, and he was like all happy about it.
That's awesome. I actually have seen Megadeth a couple of times.
Me too. Yeah. I've met David Ellefson at a Comic Palooza.
Yeah, I met him at Compalooza.
2013, I think.
And he was going to do an interview, but he was going to lunch. He said, hey, catch me later. And I didn't make it back over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
But I had met him before at a Megadeth show years earlier. But I never made it back for the interview. But he was really cool. You know,
I could have probably interviewed him.
That was awesome when Compalooza had all those rockers.
Yeah, Rudy Sarzo.
Rudy Sarzo was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't
really
he come
awesome.
back?
No, they only had him that one year.
Who am I thinking of? Ramon.
Marky Ramone.
Marky Ramone.
Yeah, I met him in San Antonio also too, because I picked up the Archie meets the Ramones.
Oh, okay.
And he was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool, man. They had those guys.
I've met Gene Simmons. Yeah.
They had
man, Gene Simmons.
Rex from Pantera.
Rex Brown.
Yeah,
I met him too.
Name. Yeah, so that was cool, man. I wish they would do. There was like an era there for a lot of cons were doing that. Like Brian Welch from Korn was at some cons, and then they kind of all the cons seemed to get back away with it. Maybe the draw wasn't there. Who knows?
Well, I mean, and also the touring schedules.
Right.
So.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool though.
Yeah, and Rudy Sarzo. And I remember Chris Jericho was in town that night with Fozzy.
Yeah.
And I told Rudy, because Rudy had been on his podcast. And I was like, hey, Chris is in town, performing over at Warehouse Live. And I didn't get to go see Fozzy. It was something I had to do that night. And I just recently saw him. And I think you've seen a picture on my Facebook where I took the picture of Jericho. And I got to see him for the first time. He's a performer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good stuff, man. Rudy Sarzo was really, really cool. So was Marky Ramone.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Marky Ramone about. I saw them play. They opened up for Pearl Jam in '95 at South Park Meadows out in Austin. That was the No Ticketmaster tour Pearl Jam did.
Oh yes.
And so the times for those shows were kind of weird. So like it was a 6:00 start time, and Pearl Jam was on stage like at 8. The whole thing was over like at 10. And I remember the Ramones coming out on stage in leather jackets and blue jeans and just...
It's hot as fuck.
It's 90, yeah. It's hot as a motherfucker. And they just rocked for 40 minutes, not missing a beat. And I remember I asked Marky, I go, man, I was sweating. Kids are falling down everywhere. And he goes, y'all don't even blink. He goes, his simple answer was, "That's just rock and roll, man."
Damn.
I was like, you can't even beat that answer, So
no,
but it's the way it was. That was a cool show. That now I think it's a shopping mall or something where South Park might have used to sit, or some sort of
probably
restaurants. Austin is so different than it was back in 1995.
Yeah, and it's so different from the last time I was there back in 2005.
Yeah.
Wow, 2005.
Yeah, I mean, I went back to UT, and they got like an In-N-Out burger, near them. I mean, it's so much has changed. I mean, all the arcades are gone.
Yeah.
Let me see.
My sister lives there, so I go there at least once or twice a year, and it's changed so much.
And the thing is, like, the traffic there and the driving there is still
fucking
horrible.
Terrible.
It's still horrible.
Yeah.
I remember me and Rob went for the Austin Comic Con, Wizard World.
Oh, okay.
And it was just, I mean, and we didn't really go anywhere, but just like going up there, and then when you start getting to Austin, like all these people just weaving in and out of lanes, I'm like, this is like kind of like LA all over again.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad.
I would still live in Austin, but the thing is, the traffic and everything, and it's a little more expensive now. Because a friend of mine has told me, so like the traffic has gone up, rent's gone up.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's wanting to move there, so it's causing everything to
it's cost effective.
Price.
I mean, because like you got all these tech companies coming. I think Microsoft is going to build a campus out there, right?
There had been some talk about it, so yeah. And,
I think it's going to happen.
Who is it? Doesn't Acclaim or one of the video game companies still has a building out there?
Oh, yes, because I was trying to work for. There was
Bungie.
No, I know EA was going to be out there back in 2003 to work on a Harry Potter multiplayer game, and they pulled out. And then there was another video game company that a friend of mine, my friend David,
I think Ubisoft has a building out there too.
I think they probably do. I think Acclaim did have like an office out there, and Acclaim is gone. RIP.
Yeah,
but
yeah, Austin, man, they're growing fast. And all we got here in Houston's a bunch of oil.
Yeah, and if it goes down, oh boy.
Right.
I've worked in oil and gas before.
So let's get the show, I guess, officially started after some intros there. And we always talk about download this, what we watched this week, stream, checked out. And we always let the guests go first. So, Jason, what have you watched lately, man?
Oh, boy. I've been watching a lot of Disney++. Finished back and watched the old Spider-Man shows.
Oh, yeah.
So I finished the 1994 show. I remember when I first got Disney+, that was the first thing I gravitated towards.
Right.
And then, I finished up The Mandalorian. Now I'm on The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
And I've been going back, and it's just like a trip down memory lane.
That's going to take a while to go through all 20 seasons. Whatever it is, 26 seasons.
And the thing is, I haven't watched the show in years. Yeah. The thing is, but I can remember where I was. I was in the third grade. This is 1989 when it first came out. And I can remember the Tracy Ullman show. When the crude animation that Matt Groening graced us with. And so...
Very grainy, gritty.
And it's like I find myself just laughing, at some of the same stuff. Like, when Bart... remember the April Fool's episode was one I just finished up. And it was one where Homer kept getting Bart. And Bart was like, I gotta, think of something to get Homer with. And he's like, okay, beer is his weakness. So he takes it, and it's like this little shaking machine that he leaves it in for quite a while. And then, it was like getting Homer to get that beer wasn't easy. So, he turns up the heat, and Homer gets up to go to the kitchen. And he opens her, hey, bro, and it's like a big, I guess like an atom bomb or something like this blows up. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, that is cool. And then, Chief Wiggum was like, oh my God, I see Pretzels. He's catching Pretzels. And then at the end, Homer goes into a coma, from that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, he was talking fine, and he goes into a coma. And then Bart starts talking to him. Dad, it was me. I was trying to figure out a way to get you back for April Fools. I love you, Dad. And you can see, the little scanner. It's in the shape of Bart.
Yep.
And he wakes up, and he just chokes him like, wow. That's just so awesome.
That's awesome. It takes so long, though.
Yeah, it is. But, I'm enjoying it. I'm seeing, the evolution of the show and just going back. And just seeing a lot of my family in The Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, growing up, I was the Lisa Simpson of the family. And my older sister was Bart. Always stayed in trouble.
Eat my shorts.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was the band geek. You know, actually won first chair and in trombone, not saxophone.
Heck yeah, brass section.
Yeah.
I played trombone.
Yep. Oh yeah. And so, yeah, you know, always had the good grades and everything. And you know, my sister, I remember my mom telling me one time, like, my sister would change her grades and stuff like that. And I remember Bart was doing that to go to Camp Krusty.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, Dr. Nick, yeah.
And then the mayor, he talks like John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, and that's what he was based on, Mayor Quimby. I'm just like, oh, you know, so much of myself and my family were in these characters.
All right.
You know?
Snake.
Yeah, Disney Plus is
He's got so much
quite... Yeah, you could spend hours just watching stuff.
For real.
Yeah.
I was watching Mr. Boogedy. Remember that? And nobody seems to remember, and I brought that up to Christy Swanson and David Faustino. And I was like, yeah, you know, what was it like, you know, doing Mr. Boogedy? And they were just like, wow, you remember that? I'm like, don't tell me how to remember it. This old brain here just can conjure up stuff. And it was like, yeah, you know, like I know that was David Faustino's start. And I think sometime before that, he was on Family Ties. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, and it was like, yeah, you know, I had a good time doing it. I don't think Christy Swanson did the second movie. But, yeah, she did the first one, and that was before Flowers in the Attic.
Yeah, the old... I've watched some of the old Spider-Man cartoon there and the old X-Men stuff from the 90s.
Had they put them in order?
They were supposed to fix the X-Men by January. I haven't gone to look to see if they have fixed it or not. But yeah, I know they were supposed to fix it by January.
I remember Night of the Sentinels was the first episode.
Right.
Yep, with Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first couple of seasons were okay. It was like the third season was out of order, I think, or something like that. They said.
Well, I think all of it was out of order.
Yeah,
because I know if you go to DC Universe, all the Batman the Animated Series is just out of order like this.
Oh yeah. Well, see, I have the Blu-rays, so the Blu-rays are in the correct order.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that on DC Universe; it was all jacked up.
Yeah.
Well, they did it. I think the Blu-ray did it in broadcast order.
Production
order, and they
order.
did broadcast order on the DC Universe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I know the Catwoman episode was the first one because they were trying to, you know, have the synergy with Batman Returns.
Right. So yeah, but my DC Universe, I actually I canceled it just because I wasn't using it enough. You know, I've gone back and Harley. You're missing Harley Quinn. Oh, that is. Yeah, it's kind of the reason I kind of want to like maybe renew it just to watch the Harley Quinn cartoon.
It's good, but one thing I don't really know if they have the content.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
And what they need to do, they need to just go on and fold it into HBO Max.
Yeah, which I think they will in time.
Yeah, I think because I know a lot of the stuff is going to be available on HBO Max, and there's a teaser coming for it that came out on Friday for it. So I think I may be getting it because I'm an Xfinity subscriber. I don't know if you guys are.
Yeah,
used to be.
I have DirecTV, but yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me ask you a question. When it rains, does the service still go out?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
It's got to be a bad rain.
It's got to be like really dark, bad rain.
Because I remember my mom hated having DirecTV. Yeah. She hated it because she was like, "Why did your dad go and get this DirecTV?" But I think he did it for sports because I remember when he first got it, he was watching like a lot of the sports, like like the Lakers and everything, because he's a big Lakers fan. Even though he grew up here in Texas, traitor. Yeah. But he's a big Lakers fan, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just watching the Lakers playing the Warriors." I'm like, "Oh, okay, and he had a good time with it." But I think by the end of 2000, my mom was just kind of getting on like, "Hey, we need a cable back because this is ridiculous."
Well, see, back in the day, it used to lose all the time. Now it doesn't lose it as often, so I think they're getting better with their satellite technology.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, anything else? Let's just cruise to Disney Plus, huh?
Yeah, and like I said before, that Ultraman series on Netflix. Been trying to watch some of that Dark Crystal.
Okay.
I watched the first episode of that. Never did go back. I don't know why. I just haven't. I think again, just so much stuff.
I mean, there's so much stuff these days, and I like that. I like that there's a variety of things. If you don't like this, you may like this. Else. Yeah, I mean, it's like and the streaming was always going to be when Netflix started their streaming. I knew that there were going to be competitors.
Oh, sure.
And the thing is, Netflix is upping the ante on original content, and I like that because with the licenses and everything. I mean, a lot of these companies are going to want fees, and stuff like that. And it's just, you need to focus on your own things unless, they can have like a really good, partnership.
Right.
Like with HBO Max, I mean, they paid a lot to get Friends. I mean, and I thought the Warner Brothers, the Warner Media
Friends, the Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah.
And
I thought that the Warner Media was gonna get it, but I'm just like, well, they paid a lot, and they're gonna have the Big Bang Theory. I mean, they paid a lot for that, and I think 2.5 Men is what next on like the target list for these streaming services.
Right.
But I love that show.
Yeah.
only the Charlie Sheen ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? With the Ashton Kutcher ones, they kind of got crude as the seasons went on.
Yeah.
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 Matt, what'd you watch this week?
I watched Warrior. I'd never seen it.
You've never seen Warrior?
Dude.
With Joel Edgerton?
Yes. And
Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy.
Really? I saw that. I mean, I remember all my MMA friends were like, yeah, we gotta go see this. We gotta go see this.
Dude, I was watching it, and then, whenever the brothers are, like, fighting against each other, and then, the fights are happening at the end, I was like, ooh, like it was a real UFC fight. Well, it's so good.
Yeah, you get into it, and it ends up not being just about fighting. It ends up being about these brothers.
Yeah.
Love, yeah.
And then I watched my wife.
Yeah, Warriors. Don't jump yet, because I'm amazed you just now saw that film.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
it's kind of at the height of MMA's popularity.
Yeah,
really.
and in the same way, I rented it not really knowing what to think. It was just someone had said, "Hey, it's good." And I remember watching it when I was still married, and me and Mary were watching it. And it was the same way. She was all like, "Oh, get him!" You get into the film at the end of it when the two brothers are fighting. And you feel the passion, too, that they have for each other. But a really well-done film. Hell, I think Nick Nolte was actually nominated for an Oscar for that film.
Oh,
I don't think he won, but he was nominated. Yeah.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte's awesome.
Yeah.
He's in The Mandalorian.
Yeah. And then I watched, so it was my wife's turn to pick after that. And we picked a couple different, she had me watch Bad Moms Christmas, which actually wasn't bad. I mean, it's got Mila Kunis in it. I get to look at Mila Kunis.
But I heard it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I met her.
It lasted in theaters for like a week.
Oh,
so
for real?
It been that good.
Yeah, met her a few years back.
Oh, nice. Maker's Mark. No,
wasn't.
Is she a bee?
Yeah,
she looks like that.
So, very much so.
And then I watched Kung Fury. Didn't age well. I still I would rather watch the video with David Hasselhoff. The music video to Kung Fury. Because it's the Hoff.
Yes. Knight Rider.
Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Well, I finally finished The Boys.
Oh, there we go.
I still haven't seen that.
I was sitting on episode 7 for the longest time, so finally finished it. And
episode 10? 10 episodes?
It's only 8. So, yeah.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
And good stuff, man. I'm not as high on as everybody else. I know you really liked it, and several people at work really liked it. And I thought it was good, but not great. But good enough that I will watch season 2 when it comes out.
Yeah, and it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I think April possibly, they said. Yeah. And I like it for Carl Urban. He's so fucking good.
Yes, that's what I like about it.
The reason that makes the show so good is Urban just fucking owns the role.
What about Anthony Starr from Banshee?
He's good too. Yeah, he's Homelander's a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, and but good stuff. I watched. So I finally finished it. And, I know it took me a while, but I got there.
There you go.
And man, and then I watched the first episode of Lock and Key. It was okay. I'm surprised it's a comic book because I'm like, if I'm reading this on paper, I would have been bored.
But the thing is, I think that some things that are comic books read well on the page better than they do.
Maybe so. Yeah.
And I think that's probably what like a lot of comic book movies, like Tank Girl. Tank Girl probably reads better than you looking at it on the screen. Right. Although I did enjoy Tank Girl. I mean,
we've thrown Tank Girl around a couple times. We just haven't done it.
Lori Petty actually was at a con.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't here. It was in San Antonio or Austin. I actually got to talk to her.
Emperor Zod was in that film too.
Yeah, Terrence Stamp.
Yep.
And
Ice-T played a mutant kangaroo.
That's right.
And then today, I actually took the kids today and saw Sonic the Hedgehog. And
how'd you like it?
It was actually very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing mixed about it, but a guy came in my job tonight, and he was like, "Yeah, I loved it, and the setup for it is really good."
Yeah, they set it up well. It makes sense. It's good to see Jim Carrey back on the screen.
And
he's being Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Like, I'm watching Jim do what I watched him do in the 90s, and they let him be himself, and it works.
You know, he kind of got away from it for a while, trying to do drama and everything.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Which was actually good. Which was actually pretty good. And and everybody talks about his dramatic work. Go back and watch a movie. It was a TV movie on Fox. It's called Doing Time on Maple Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays an alcoholic son. The alcoholic son. Lori Loughlin's in it. James B. Syking from Doogie Howser. Play the father on Doogie Howser. He's in it. And he plays it really well. And this was 1992, so Jim Carrey's still on In Living Color at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was like kind of jarring to see him doing dramatic work because, he had always done, comedic stuff. And then all of a sudden he's playing this alcoholic, and I'm just like, wow, he's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Sonic was very entertaining. We've talked on the show before about like video game movies not being very good, but this might be like one of the top 2 or 3. It's very entertaining.
Detective Pikachu was really good. I like that.
And, Pikachu's kind of like. I graduated high school in 95, so I kind of missed the Pokemon generation. So I don't get the appeal of it. Like, I watch it with the kids, I'm like, why is this good? I'm like, I couldn't, get it,
and of course, it's not an American-made property.
Right.
But, I could kind of see, because I was about 17 when it came out. I remember when it premiered. And, being, like, a person who's into Japanese anime, I liked it. I could see its appeal, but, now, it's like, if you ask me something about Pokemon, I can tell you a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm not an expert. And I don't really play any of the Pokemon games because I don't have a Nintendo Switch.
Right.
So, everybody was going crazy over Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I'm just like, yeah, but, I can... I liked it, Detective Pikachu. I liked Mortal Kombat. That was a really good video game movie.
Mm-hmm.
Doom was good in spurts.
Right.
That first-person sequence.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. And I remember that's how they sold the movie at Comic-Con. I remember being there for it.
That was the promo, right? The first-person shooter?
Well, yeah, because The Rock. The Rock was there, and he was, I think The Rock was there, and Carl Urban were there. And this was in 2005 because they also did... the Superman Returns panel, and everybody was coming out for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they showed that first-person sequence, and that was all that they showed.
Right.
And everybody was stand up clapping and everything, and we were thinking, oh, this movie's gonna be so badass. And then it just, it fell flat. Yeah, it failed miserably. And still, I still like that sequence.
Right.
And let me see, video game movies. I did not like any of the Resident Evils.
Yeah.
I thought that they just got further and further and further away from the whole premise, the more sequels that they made. So now, and the thing is, I think that if they would have let George Romero do his version, it would have been closer to the game.
Yeah.
The second one was I felt was the closest to the storyline. It was a mix of it was basically 3.
Yeah.
With stars.
So we talked a few weeks ago on the show when we did Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
Yeah.
We kind of decided that might be the best video game movie ever made.
Yeah.
The Street Fighter 2 animation.
Yeah. But, the thing is, for live action, if you count live action, that Street Fighter movie sucks.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I told Ming I was like, you were pretty good in it, but the rest of them sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mortal Kombat might be the best.
Yeah,
live
it is.
action. Yeah.
It is because it was like the games. The characters acted like...
You had a director that knew the game, played the game, and understood it.
I'm going to tell you who directed that, right?
It's eluding me right now.
It's the same guy who did the Resident Evil films.
Really?
Yes.
Paul Anderson.
Wow.
W.S. Anderson. Who married Mila Jovovich.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same guy. So I'm kind of thinking, what happened on this movie, that you set up and messed up that franchise?
Yeah.
Paul W.S. Anderson had a kind of interesting career.
Yeah, he started out in music videos, of course, like all directors like Michael Bay and whatnot. But, when he got the Mortal Kombat gig, he was, excited, and then it was just like the movies, just like the video games. And then he did Event Horizon, which I think is probably his best movie.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a TV show or something.
I've been talking about it, yeah.
Yeah, but that was a really good movie. And then, when he started doing Resident Evil, I'm like, the first one was, it was okay.
Yeah.
But still wasn't,
right.
What I thought it was going to be. And now they're going to reboot it. Mm-hmm. And it's probably going to be more in line with the games.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'd recommend seeing Sonic though, very much, because kids want to see it. I'm like, I don't really want to watch Sonic.
And James Marsden,
yeah,
he's a good guy. He played Cyclops, got messed over in 3. Very, very nice guy.
Yeah, he's good in it, and like I said, Jim Carrey's good, and it was fun. I enjoyed watching it with him. It's not overly long; it's like an hour and a half.
They're
so
good.
It keeps the kids' attention.
Ben Schwartz does a good Sonic. You know what? Is Jaleel White in anywhere, or they make reference to him? Because he did Sonic for a while.
The animated?
They may have, and I just might have missed it. Yeah.
Every time I saw Sonic, I wanted to have chili cheese dogs.
And there's a cool post-credit scene, so you gotta stay for it.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what it is, so I mean, yeah. And you kind of you would think that they're alluding to it. So if they ever make a trilogy, a certain other character is going to come to. So. But
it was good. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Well, you just probably lowered your expectations.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I'm like, man, I could leave the kids with my mom, and I could go see 1917 or something. But no, I took the kids. We had a good time. So it was good.
That's good.
Much more kid friendly than the movie we're fixing to talk about.
Yes,
which is probably I can never pinpoint exactly what my first rated R movie was.
This was mine.
But I know it was either Robocop or Die Hard because they came out around the same, a year apart, but around that time. And
I think I was the youngest to see this movie.
I remember
I was 7.
Really?
Yeah, my dad put it on for me.
Jewel of the Nile was my first R-rated movie.
And that was probably a pretty light rated R too, as well. So
it's probably like PG-13, I think. But so Jewel of the Nile was 86?
Yeah.
It's probably what spurred my love of horror movies. Seeing Peter Weller get torn apart by 12-gauge rounds,
Well, I remember
Paul McCrane.
My dad let me see this, and I remember me and my mom were talking the other day, actually, and she goes, "Yeah, I used to not like how your dad would let you watch those movies," because I told her I let Michael stay up watch Terminator Dark Fate with me, and she's like, "He's too young." I'm like, "Mom, I was 11 when I saw RoboCop stuff. It's okay, he watched Terminator."
Yeah, he watched it with you. He's not sneaking around.
That's what I said. And so we were talking about that. She goes, "Yeah, and I used to not like your dad doing it either." I'm like, "Mom, I turned out okay."
Yeah, exactly. And I hear these stories about a lot of kids who were my age who grew up, their parents, taking them to see Predator or letting them watch Predator on TV. And I remember we saw it over at the Dollar Theater on Shepherd. It's now a church. And my mom ended up working behind this Dollar Theater, working behind it in a place called McCoy. And I remember seeing Batman there. So those were some good times. I mean, the only Dollar Theater is the one 1960.
Yeah, it's the only one I know of. Yeah.
And I remember she saw it with me. I mean, just all this, violence and everything, and I can remember. And then we ordered on pay-per-view. Right. So, and before that, we saw Revenge of the Nerds 2 over there. Right. So, I mean...
Yeah. So you're about to say that was your first rated R movie too?
Yep. My dad did the same thing that yours did. Ticked off, my mom. You're letting them watch that?
My dad didn't care because he was at work.
Nice.
And I rewatched it this week just to refresh my memory for the show and everything. And been a while since I saw it. And for a 1987 film, the violence in this is still pretty extreme, even by today's standards. I'm like, wow, this is really, really violent.
Oh, yeah, very. And it got a rated X.
Initially, yeah. Yeah, they trimmed, for the theatrical release, they trimmed the scene where Ed 209 kills the guy.
The businessman,
yeah. They basically, all it is, the biggest difference is the camera doesn't show him getting shot as much. And then in the unrated version, you see him getting shot more. And then when Murphy is killed, you basically don't see his arm get blown off in the unrated version.
Yeah.
And then or the R-rated version. The unrated version is just a little extra to see his arm get blown off. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's really the biggest differences in the film, are just those two small scenes to get the R rating. Because even in 1987, you didn't want a film to get NC-17 or X rating because it would have been
that was
bad business at the box office.
And the thing is, Paul Verhoeven, the director who had gone on to direct Showgirls, which I did see at the age of 14. Nice. He did Starship Troopers, Basic Instinct, Total Recall, Basic Instinct. He was a pretty prolific director, and I think it was a movie that he did. I forget the movie, and it did, pretty okay. But it was just that he never directed another Hollywood movie again, which is a shame. Because the guy, he tends to throw everything to the wall to see what'll stick.
Right.
he was directing, some Swedish stuff, some Swedish TV stuff, but he never did direct another Hollywood movie, which is a shame. And this is him at his best.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he didn't come back for the second.
Right.
Irvin Kershner, who did Empire Strikes Back, came back to did
and
this.
Filmed it in Houston.
Yes. And I got to see Peter Weller. During that time, my mom was working downtown in 1990. Well, no, she went downtown for something. And she was telling me about it, like all the streets were, blocked off. And I remember we went down there one night and I got to see Peter Weller in the costume. And just, was ingrained in my brain.
Oh, sure.
And the first one was actually filmed in Dallas. Because you see the Dallas skyline, doubling for old Detroit.
Yeah.
And it's just my first impression of this movie was, wow. But I'm like, they were just, shooting people. The thing is, in Robocop had this badass gun that he never had to reload.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just like, Dirty Harry, had the, iconic weapons, that one in Dirty Harry's 44.
Yep.
And, a lot of cops, I remember during that time, would do the twirling of the gun trick. And I remember seeing a lot of cops doing this. I'm like, not sure if you want to, go off.
They're not like Glocks, though. Berettas have a safety, right? This was a Beretta with the fixtured...
modified Beretta.
Yeah, modified Beretta.
I mean, that...
triple shot burst.
Which would be the same guns they would use when Kurt Wimmer directed Equilibrium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same guns in Equilibrium.
Right. But, this movie here just... It's one of those movies that once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
You can't forget it.
For real.
And it is a very good movie, and it's also, I was reading about it, it's a cyberpunk movie. And you may not think that it is, but a lot of things that happen in this movie are happening today.
Right.
You got, governments running businesses, the cops and everything kind of, I guess, kind of...
Yeah, that whole business element still holds up today.
Yeah,
and what happens within a business, and how people treat each other and talk about each other behind their backs. Sure, there's a lot of shit talking.
I used to work in the corporate world, oil and gas, and remember, that son of a bitch and all this kind of stuff. And
you were the guy in the urinal. He's a dinosaur.
And the thing is, pretty much, TV standards have kind of lowered. On cable, you can catch, I'll buy that for $1. And they're kind of almost. You can show. I don't know if you can show boobs on TV, on cable TV.
Right.
I'm not sure, but it gets pretty darn close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of things that especially the second movie too, that they talked about, like artificial intelligence, keeping somebody's brain, alive, and just. The corporate politics. A lot of this stuff is, has come to fruition. Now, the cyberpunk element, I really didn't see it first, and I read an article about it. I was like, I guess I could see, with the, whole element of, taking a machine, and hey, machines are taking over.
Yeah.
Automation and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, having a machine and having a human fused with it, that's probably not too far off.
Right.
Who knows what they're doing at the
3D
Pentagon?
printing and everything. Yeah.
Who knows what they're doing in some top secret lab?
Right.
With and cybernetic implants. Basically, Murphy has an very expensive cybernetic implant.
Yeah.
That's used to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it has a really soft emotional core with the theme of humanity. How much of a machine is Robocop and how much of a man is he?
Right.
And the thing is, they try to wipe his memory, but, in the scene where he's being introduced, where you see him for the first time, he does the gun twirl.
Yeah.
And Ann Lewis is like, I know him, that's my former partner.
Murphy.
Yeah, and then, she's like, hey, it's you, and then he just, kind of brushes her off.
Right.
And then he starts getting memories. Slowly but surely, his humanity starts to come back.
Right.
He's a cop killer.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's almost like, with these smartphones nowadays, they're saying that like a lot of these millennials, they live in their machines and with their PlayStations and their phones, that they can't even they have no social grace.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see a lot of that creep in. So Paul Verhoeven and Edward Neumeier, they were ahead of their time.
Oh sure. I was thinking the same thing. I was watching it this week, and there's some satirical elements to RoboCop but they're real underlying, because in some ways they're not so much trying to make fun of anything as they are trying to speak to you as where the future might be headed. And you're absolutely right. We see some of that today. This movie is 33 years old.
87, so almost 33.
Yeah. So, it's like you start seeing that now. Like, these elements have come to fruition today now with the way things are handled. Especially, private militaries, private police forces. Not so much in America, but we've heard words of it. Everyone thought that President Trump was going to make the military, business-like and things like that. Just you hear these rumblings of the way things are nowadays and things like that happened in Robocop back then.
Yeah.
And I can't even shudder to think what they're doing with technology behind closed doors. As far as cybernetic implants and things like that, because you have to imagine with 3D printing, this stuff isn't far off.
Yeah.
And so the movie definitely holds up today. And for 1987, though, people probably just brush it off as just like, oh, it's just a futuristic movie. Didn't think nothing of it. You got to imagine what people thought when they saw this back then. It's like a really ultra-violent film that had not been seen of its kind before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the crime was almost as bad as, Mega City 1. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, now you got Chicago, which is like a dangerous place to be. St. Louis, dangerous place to be. It's kind of getting so to where, you can't even walk out your front door and just be safe.
What's funny is they based this movie in Detroit, and I was reading, like, in the 80s, Detroit wasn't really that bad yet.
No.
Like, it had its problems and stuff, but it wasn't like... And it's almost like this movie predicted that Detroit was going to have these problems happen 20 years later.
Yeah, the city was, went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And which is kind of, it's kind of ironic, that happened. And they're trying to get a Robocop statue.
Yeah.
Looks like Philadelphia.
That's awesome.
Well, apparently it's going to happen that they got the funding for the Robocop. Because Peter Weller got behind it, and he said, like, let's do this.
Yeah. And I want to see him at the unveiling.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And, I was talking to him about that. He was like, yeah, I think that's a pretty cool thing, Rocky inspires hope, and Robocop, hey, maybe he can inspire hope for the future. I mean, not so much in a violent way, but, yeah, the city of Detroit is coming back. It's, I think they got, because, a lot of people were just moving out. Moving out of Detroit, and it was like a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
Once they lost the auto parts industry, people were just like, you know what, I don't know if I can afford to live here, or, I don't know if I'm going to live here. So it became, a huge ghost town. Now, I think you've had some investors and developers come back in and try to drum up interest. So I think it's, it's on the up and up now.
Right. Yeah. And,
luckily, Peter Weller got chosen for that part, because first they wanted someone bigger, and they wanted Arnold.
The thing is, they wanted Arnold, but that suit is, and the thing is with the suit, it was created by Rob Bottin, who did the effects for The Thing.
Yes.
And when he constructed that suit, he's like, oh, okay, well, somebody that's big and muscular like Arnold would not be able to fit. So Peter Weller, who's way more slender, came in, and did it. And the thing is, the suit didn't look like that. At first, it looked like something, I guess, a little more futuristic, not so bulky. Mm-hmm. And it kind of looked like, they said it was more in line with the 2014 remake.
Right.
And, he said, like, well, the suit doesn't look, so great. And then they, went back and made it bulkier, and then Peter Weller had to change the way he walked. Because he worked with a mime instructor. Yeah. And to get this walk down, like, now he, walks like a soldier. Which, he's a soldier for OCP. So
OCP owns the cops.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And then like, he couldn't fit in the car in the suit, though. That was another problem they had. So if you watch the movie, you see Robocop either getting out or opening the door. You never see him stepping in. Yeah. He always filmed it from his legs up. He only had the boots on. He could wear the boots and the top, and a lot of the driving scenes, he's in his underwear.
Oh, yeah,
nice. And he's listening to Peter Gabriel's album.
Yeah. And I thought that was kind of cool, like the way they shot it. A lot of practical effects, lots of blood stuff in here. This is pre-CGI days.
Yeah, so all the Ed 209.
Yeah. Yeah, they used a stop motion model for Ed 209. Mm-hmm. And I have it on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's been cleaned up since with the newer Blu-ray releases, but like the Ed 209 looks a little rough. That's probably the only scene that doesn't hold up.
Is that the one where he's trying to go down the stairs?
Nah, I got even...
Or even when he walks in the room, it's just kind of like, it's a little rough looking.
I got a scene for you. Whenever they throw the CEO off the building, and he...
you can see it's clearly a toy model.
And he looks like Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit. The arms.
It's a toy, yeah.
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 I'd like to think so. I immediately, whenever I freeze framed it, I was like, "This reminds me of Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit."
Yeah, watch the special features.
He gets flattened out, and his arms are all.
It is. It's a toy that they just
drop.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. But I imagine the costume for the Robocop costume had to cost quite a bit because this wasn't a super high budget movie.
$11 million, and then you turned it into 53 just in the U.S.
Yeah,
so.
The movie was profitable. It did well in the box office because it was really well reviewed, and people generally liked it. Sci-fi escapism in the mid '80s was super popular.
Hell yeah.
It still is. Don't get me wrong, but coming off of Star Wars and the success of Star Trek 2,
and then Terminator,
and Aliens, 2. And Terminator,
yeah.
People were looking for science fiction films. They were really big.
You had
the box office,
and that year before Aliens, the sequel to Aliens.
Sure.
So you had that going for it, and then here it is. You have something that just comes and just raises the bar.
Yeah. And I'm sure the controversy helped the film too. People, we didn't have the internet then, but people read magazines and news and the reports that the movie was ultra violent.
Siskel and Ebert, Entertainment Tonight.
Siskel and Ebert,
yes,
classic
those guys. Even though I didn't always agree with them, I still like watching them.
Yeah,
but you had a journeyman actor in Peter Weller who lived in Texas. Actually went to the University of North Texas. Was a band geek like us.
Yeah,
he played trumpet and. So he, stars in this movie, and I remember him in a movie called Firstborn with Corey Haim and Terry Garr. And he played a drug dealer who, marries Terry Garr, and he becomes sort of like I don't think he married, he was dating.
Right.
Dating her, and the thing is, the boy, one of the older kids finds out that, he's, dealing drugs. And in the movie Firstborn, Robert Downey Jr. and Sarah Jessica Parker, are in it too.
Oh, yeah, I remember that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Very early Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he was really young.
And I think this is before Robert Downey Jr. and Sarah Jessica Parker start dating. Yeah. So that was a really good movie. And then to see Peter Weller, I'm like, wow, this guy here really, and then you have Nancy Allen, the cast was really, really good.
Yeah.
And they're all playing against type, too. Because Peter Weller kind of played like some sleazeballs, and, Nancy Allen was in Carrie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she actually married Brian De Palma. And then you have Ronnie Cox.
Yeah.
Who was in...
He's always a good character actor.
Yeah, very, very reliable. Who was in Beverly Hills Cop, And he always plays, very nice guys, but here he's playing an asshole.
Yeah.
And he was in the movie Vision Quest.
Right.
And Miguel Ferrer, who was George Clooney's cousin, R.I.P.
Yeah.
And he's in it. And then, let me see, who else? Then you had Dan O'Harely.
Yeah.
Who was Grigg in Last Starfighter.
And then Ray Wise, who was in a lot of movies in the 80s. Ray Wise always kind of was like the thug.
Yeah.
Always played a bad guy.
Come on, Clarence, I got him. Boom.
And then, of course, Clarence, went on to be in that 70s show.
We can't forget him, Kurtwood Smith.
Yes.
Kurtwood Smith, And
I always know him as Eric's dad.
And when I would,
oh boy! And you know what?
But for me, when watching that '70s show, I always thought that's the bad guy from RoboCop. Yeah. He's mean.
Yes.
And the thing is, he's playing like a milder Clarence Boddicker, like a less. Well, no, because he always threatened to kick Eric's ass.
Right.
But,
yeah.
He's more. He does it with his hands, not with a gun or anything like that. So
that's true.
And he had Paul McCrane from ER playing Emil.
Yeah.
And he was on Fame before that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, not that.
Yeah. And I always thought, I remember Peter Weller being the guy who was in a lot of cheesy sci-fi films too. He did Scanners.
That's right.
And then, of course, I actually love Buckaroo Banzai. Which
me too. I love Buckaroo Banzai.
And I always remember him as Buckaroo Banzai too, growing up.
I hadn't seen that movie until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd always heard it was good. They continued it with a comic book series too, like a little sequel. But that was an all-star cast for that.
Oh yeah. Big time.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yep, Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, lots of, Clancy Brown.
What's her name? Ellen Barkin?
Ellen Barkin, yeah. Yeah, we did Buckaroo Banzai, about a couple years ago on the show.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen Buckaroo until you watched it for the show?
I had seen parts of it, and I just remembered the rocket, the rocket car.
Buckaroo Banzai is a movie you have to be very careful who you introduce it to, because not everyone gets it.
Well, they also have to I think, if you introduce it to a movie fan, they're going to get it right away.
Right.
a casual moviegoer who's maybe seen, some of the actors, you know, like Jeff Goldblum.
I think it's like 80s crap, yeah. They're not going to realize, like, how genius it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, my friend's father was friends with the writer of that movie. And he would tell me, like, they've been trying to get a sequel off the ground for years.
Yeah.
Because of the box office. I mean, that movie was ahead of his time.
Oh, big time. Well, even the writer of Ready Player One, God, he lives in Austin. His name's escaping me.
I know what you're talking
He wrote a fan script for a sequel to Buckaroo Banzai at one time. And it started, and that's about the time Kevin Smith was talking about doing a Buckaroo Banzai television show, and it got a little steam there, like we were going to get to Return of Buckaroo Banzai, and then it's
like 03,
sort of, and then just sort of all died again. You know,
well, because the thing is, I mean, Kevin Smith will say he's kind of like Quentin Tarantino a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that, but he doesn't. I mean, because Tarantino will be like, "Oh, I want to make a Star Trek movie," and he almost did.
Right.
Then he's just like, "Well, I'm not doing it anymore." I'm like, "Come on, dude."
Yeah. Well, in the case of Buckaroo Banzai, they had they started writing scripts to do a TV series, and we're going to sell it to like Netflix or something, and then they come to find out that that MGM still owns the rights to Buckaroo, and they're like they couldn't get the rights because they thought the rights were open.
It would have been expensive.
Yeah. So they found out like, oh well, we can't get them. Oh well. So maybe one day. But RoboCop, and it's a good film, man. There's been talks about RoboCop Returns. I guess Neil Blomkamp is no longer going to direct it, but he's still going to stay on as producer.
Yeah, I hope he writes it.
I hope he at least writes it. I was really looking forward to what he would do with RoboCop. He even threw hints out there that Peter Weller might at least come back and do the voice.
That would be
he
cool.
probably would have put him in the suit.
I mean, he's
about
72
now.
Yeah, he's my dad's age, so 72. Oh, boy.
So, he probably would have put him in the suit, but he'd at least come back and maybe do some voice work. And I'm still kind of hoping that happens, and it was going to be a direct sequel to the original, I guess. They're going to act like 2 and 3 don't exist,
But I don't think Nancy Allen would come back because the thing is, her condition of coming back for the third one was that Lewis dies.
Right.
And that happened, like, I think in the first act.
Yeah.
And that kind of sets things in motion.
Yeah, so, we'll see. I think RoboCop's a good enough character. I didn't hate the 2014 remake. I know a lot of people did. I thought it was... I took it for what it was. Yeah. I was like, it's not terrible. It's got Michael Keaton in it.
Yeah.
It's got some cool one-liners like good cop, bad cop, good cop, RoboCop. I like...
Yeah. I mean, and that was kind of like the start of, Michael Keaton really coming back to big-budget filming because he had been, gone. I mean, and I don't really know why he had been away. Because I remember he was in The Other Guys, which I actually had the privilege of seeing filmed. And when I went to New York, I just happened to be there, and there's Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, filming stuff. And, I mean...
Yankee Clipper.
I'm just, glad to see him back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I think the 2014 RoboCop might have been the beginning of his kind of comeback.
See, The Other Guys was filmed... Well, 2010. So 2010, kind of gradually... Right. And then, then he wins the Oscar for Birdman, which is an awesome movie.
I still haven't seen that, actually.
Oh, wow. I need to see it.
When I first saw it and I didn't know anything about it, I was like, oh, is this like cartoons? Space Ghost?
Yeah.
Birdman!
And it's very autobiographical for him.
Yeah.
Because it's about a guy who, played a superhero and then career kind of goes down.
Yeah. I'm going to have to watch it eventually.
And
it's on my list.
Yeah. And Adam West, too. Plays a superhero. Like when he started in that episode of Batman the Animated Series, The Grey Ghost.
Well, my favorite episode, probably. Yeah, that's probably my favorite episode of the show. But
I liked him best as the mayor in Family Guy.
Oh, yes.
You and your Family Guy references.
Yes.
I haven't watched any Fox animation in a long time.
Been a while for me, too. But yeah, man. This is like it's a movie, definitely one of those 100 movies to see before you die.
And one that gets better on repeat viewings. Whenever they show this film on HBO or whatever channel, I always watch.
Yeah,
it's one of those movies. It's this one, Big Lebowski, any Back to the Future, movie, Aliens. I mean, it's a movie that I always just watch. Even though I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I enjoyed rewatching it this week. I hadn't watched it in a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, it still holds up extremely well. It's still fun. It's well paced. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes long, but yet it feels epic.
Yeah. Even the ridiculous sized rifles still hold up.
Oh, the Cobra guns?
Yes.
Right, where there's no muzzle flash.
Yeah.
You decide to set them up, and then they say the car's blowing up. I'm like, I guess budget saving there. We're not going to muzzle flash the rifles.
Yeah.
You know? And then, but yeah, it still holds up well. I give it a solid A+. This movie, I think it's still really good.
It is very good.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to also. I mean, it's just a movie that I was kind of wondering why they decided to remake it. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, they lost a lot of the satirical edge in the 2014 one. But you kind of see, nostalgia is a very powerful thing.
Right.
And a friend of mine was even asking me, why don't they just remake a bad movie? I mean, figure out what you did wrong on that movie and then improve upon it. But they'll never do that because there's not a built-in audience for it. There's no nostalgia. So, like, if they were to remake Battlefield Earth, which I hope they don't, but everybody's going to remember everything that went wrong.
Right, they're going to remember the bad movie.
And it's too much of a risk, too, because the thing is, it doesn't have that built-in audience, that popularity. Right. So people are going to want to forget that movie rather than see a reimagining of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had a similar conversation with a friend before. I'm like, because it's funny how people remember the bad movies. They don't want to watch those. They're not going to want to watch a remake.
Yeah.
It's like why there's not been really a live-action Street Fighter remake, because it just wasn't very good.
Yeah. I mean, they're rebooting, Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And then I think it's coming out probably next year.
It's about a year from now, yeah. Because I looked it up because I was like, I kept hearing about it. I'm like, well, when the fuck is this thing coming out? And I think it's like February of next year. So
February,
it's coming
March,
out. Yeah.
And there will be fatalities.
Yes. And we'll probably do the original Mortal Kombat about the time that one comes out. Just makes sense to do it when it comes out. But yeah, RoboCop, man, it's good stuff, and I hope RoboCop Returns happens.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool character.
I want to see it also, or what we could do? It's like this. If it doesn't happen as a movie, happen as a TV show.
Yeah.
It did once before.
Yeah, they did a RoboCop TV show.
12 episodes.
They also did a RoboCop cartoon.
Games. You had games on the Atari, Commodore 64, NES.
I remember playing the arcade video game, and that one was pretty cool. And then there was a Nintendo game. They made several, and then they paired them up with the Terminator in the comics, and there was a video game for that too.
Yeah. Action figures?
Numerous action figures.
The
little spark. I had the action figure with the spark and the chest.
The caps.
Yeah.
It's definitely become a pop culture icon. Actually, down there, there's an Ed 209 down there somewhere.
Yeah,
RoboCop.
right.
That's awesome.
From those police force lines and stuff. So yeah.
And I remember the animated series came about in 1988. Mm-hmm. They had there was a programming block called Marvel Action Universe.
Right.
And I remember it was on the local Fox station. It was that, Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends, and then Dino Riders.
Yep.
And then RoboCop was the last show that they would show. But I remember one time they did an X-Men. They were trying to do an X-Men part.
Right.
And it was actually pretty good. But yeah, I had some videos of it, and it still held up. I'm like, okay, so they can't really show a lot of violence, but it was still RoboCop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the X-Men was a result of they called the RoboCop team and said, "Hey, we're canceling the show." But they had a little money left over. So they did the X-Men just to try to sell it as a pilot. But Marvel at that point was like, no, we're not doing any more animation right now. Little did we know that a few years later they would sell it to Fox and we would get X-Men, Spider-Man, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's how the Pride of the X-Men came about, was just leftover money. Let's do a pilot and sell it and try to make it a series.
Because Sunbow was actually an ad agency, I believe. And the thing is, that was pretty much the last of the Sunbow animation. Mm-hmm. Because I remember that in G.I. Joe the movie.
Yeah.
Were pretty much the last. And, DIC got, G.I. Joe, and Morgan Lofting, who did the Baroness, said that she hated the DIC G.I. Joe rendition. And I'm like, it wasn't as good. But, yeah, I remember RoboCop had 2 animated series. It was one, RoboCop Alpha 20-something. It was like far in the future. Never watched it because I was always going to school when I was going to high school when it was on. And then they had the RoboCop TV show, which, they figured out clever, ways around the violence.
Right.
And I remember getting some negative reviews just because, it couldn't be like the movies.
Right.
It was for, I think it was sci-fi.
Yeah. But apparently it was like, in Europe, it was a huge hit, huge TV ratings. So it did really well over there. In America, it did okay. And they released them as like little mini movies on video and stuff. I remember that. I think our former co-host, Frank, has some of those movies on DVD.
Yeah.
You can watch a lot of them. They used to be on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I mean, you can download them and, maybe YouTube. Yeah. And then they did RoboCop Prime Directives for sci-fi, too. Started out in Canada, because I remember Paige Fletcher, who played the Hitchhiker was Robocop. He was Alex Murphy.
Oh.
And I actually got to meet, and then I think 3 never happened, and neither did 2.
Right.
So I think they just kind of took the storyline after the first one, because his son grows up to be like an exec, and I actually get to meet the actor who played it. And like I mentioned, RoboCop Prime Directives. And he said it was a great time. I think they had like a part 1 and a part 2. And I think they were kind of hoping to make a TV show from that, but nothing ever happened.
I like RoboCop 2 also, just because it was filmed in Houston.
Yeah, and that's...
I too I remember going downtown with my dad, and I remember seeing a street blocked off, and I remember seeing an OCP sign hanging from the Wortham Center, and I remember seeing OCP cars. I didn't get to see by Famous, but I do remember being about 12, 13 years old and seeing that going on downtown.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. And I own it. I owned a copy of it just because it was filmed in Houston. There was a guy... The scene where the baseball team robs the video store, there's a kid in that scene that me and my brother went to school with.
Really?
So that's kind of cool memories. Just like, man, we knew that guy.
So they got a lot of Houston actors.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like a lot of like things that, a lot of like landmarks and everything that look different now. Just like, that's downtown. That's so-and-so.
Yeah.
And like now, like when Mark Ralston, who played a cop, he was in Aliens, and he played a cop in Saw. He's the one that I think is... Costas Mandalore kills.
Oh, okay.
And he was like telling me, like that at the time. This was 2013, I think, when they came here. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't even know Houston anymore." He's like, so much of it has changed. And he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, like back then, Houston did kind of look like old Detroit." And that's true, because downtown was kind of a shithole.
Well, yeah, and then like IMDb, they list a lot of the movie locations. For some reason, they don't list the George R. Brown. I don't know why, because the scene at the end is shot in the George R. Brown, because the Wortham Center wasn't finished yet.
No.
They only shot the outside of the building. There's nothing shot inside the Wortham. The offices weren't ready yet or any of that. They just used the outside of the building because they liked the way it looked better than they did the George R. Brown. Most of the office and inside scenes were shot at George R. Brown.
Yep.
And but for some reason, IMDb doesn't credit it. Maybe George R. Brown asked for it not to be credited. Who knows? Or maybe it's just something they haven't updated.
Yeah, and I actually got to meet Peter Weller and talk to him a little bit about the second one. Not the first one so much because it's filmed in Dallas, but
we'll forgive Dallas.
Yeah, but he was like, he was like, I was hanging out with Billy Gibbons, from ZZ Top, and he's got that. He went to high school, graduated high school in San Antonio, Alamo Heights, and he was like telling me all about it, and I was like, man, like, do you ever get to Houston? He's like, no, I don't really get there, like I want to, but he said he did have fond memories. Yeah. And an update on Peter Weller, he has a doctorate in Italian Renaissance art.
What?
Yeah.
See, he's a real life Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah, I mean,
there we go.
He's did some directing. He's in I think the last season, like the last 2 seasons of Sons of Anarchy,
right?
And he played like a sleazeball.
And he showed up in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he played the corrupt Starfleet captain, right?
Yep.
Or Starfleet admiral. And so, I mean...
He voiced Batman, The Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Which I really liked his voice as Batman.
Oh, yeah. He's a cool guy. I mean, I could have waxed poetic with him for hours. But, of course, the line's got to move. And I got a picture for my mother, since, she and I were big RoboCop fans.
Yeah.
So, like, the sequels, there were 2 sequels. All right. I do like 2. Now, Frank Miller wrote both. Right. And I love Frank Miller. Although some of his writing, the All-Star Batman sucked. Yeah. And, I don't know what happened with that. But they say he wrote 2 scripts that were basically unfilmable. Mm-hmm. And he actually got to do them in comic book form. Right. Which, were very crude. And very much like the first one.
More in line with the first film, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, they were just... He ups the ante on the violence.
Oh, sure.
But, the thing is, and he said that was what started his bad relationship with Hollywood because of that. And, he came back to direct, Sin City for a buck, for Robert Rodriguez. But I actually did like RoboCop 2. I mean, it wasn't as satirical as the first, but for what it was, especially with the Houston connection, I mean, I always give the movie a pass. I give it like a B-. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not as good, Peter Weller and Nancy Allen come back. The old man comes back, Dan O'Harely. Mm-hmm. He comes back. I mean, and it really, the issue of humanity, and then his son comes into the picture. And then you kind of see RoboCop. You kind of see some tender moments from him. You know, when like his son dies in the beginning when he sees the baby in the drug lab, and he's like, you know, touching him. It's like, I'm like, I guess, you know, he realizes he's Murphy now. He's more Murphy than RoboCop. Right. He's still, you know, RoboCop, you know, in a lot of ways, but, you know, still able to show those tender moments. And, you know, I felt that they did try to push the character forward. Right. Because I remember the one scene where, I guess they turned him into like a Boy Scout.
Oh, yeah.
Kids, what you're doing is wrong. Think about mommy and daddy. and
then the kids turn on him.
Yeah. And then it's like, what is going on? And then he realizes this programming is fucked up, and he shocks himself and reboots himself. Yeah, so I thought, you know, Kane came off to me too much as an Ed 209
a little bit
copy. Yeah. And that's what I didn't like. I mean, if they would have kind of, I guess, kept it to, you know, maybe like corrupt businessmen or something like that, or maybe even had him go up against the old man and kill the old man, you know, I would have liked that better. Yeah, because, I mean, the thing is, like I was saying, it's kind of like the Wolverine. Remember how that movie ended? And you were thinking how it should have ended? Right. If it would have ended with him and the guy who played Silver Samurai, you know, dueling, and Wolverine kills him, that would have been a great ending to the movie, but they had to go silly and have the guy in this big Silver Samurai armor thing, and it just kind of borderline, you know, parody.
It's weird, yeah.
Cutting off his
It came off as cartoonish.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, that's how kind of RoboCop is for me, because he once again has to go up against a big machine, you know, something that's bigger and more powerful than he is, and possibly a replacement for him.
Right.
And I'm just like, they just kind of rehashed, you know, the end of it. But, you know, I still liked it. And the third one is just...
it has ninjas and RoboCop flies.
And the thing is, they filmed it in Atlanta, and my friend Jay, who lived in Atlanta, he was like, yeah, you know, I remember that. And he, you know, was telling me, you know, because like Atlanta was hood too. Like when they filmed it, I mean, you can see like all sorts of trash, and it's just looking like shit. So they filmed it, I want to say right at, I think it was right after the second one came out, because they were trying to get Peter Weller to come back for the third one, but he said no. So they got Robert John Burke for this one, and Robert John Burke, if you've ever seen Thinner, that's who plays him, and he's also on Rescue Me too. And so they get him back. Now he makes a good RoboCop, but it's just a bad movie. Bad writing. I mean, you can tell it's
PG-13.
Yeah, and it's like, and then they try to give RoboCop a little kid sidekick. Yeah, you know, but CCH Pounder's in it. I mean, she.
That's right. Yeah,
and Stephen Root playing a villain, and it's just bad writing. You can tell they rushed it. Yeah. And they give RoboCop some enhancements like a jetpack.
Yeah, he's flying. I always remember him just flying sideways after these ninjas. I'm like, what's going on here?
And I think what happened was that movie sat on the shelf for a while because Orion Pictures went out of business.
That's right, yeah.
Just like with the Bill and Ted movie, how it sat on the shelf for a while and wasn't released until 1989. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's just the third movie, oh boy, I hate that movie. When I watched it, I'm just like, God, this looks so cheap, and just you can tell that they were just trying to cash in. Yeah. And, you know, good thing that Weller did not come back. Right. You know, Robert John Burke, I give you all the respect in the world for trying to make that piece of shit work, but
it just did not work.
No. Yeah, and the ninjas, Bruce Locke played one of them. And I actually ended up meeting him at Comic-Con, too. And he was like, yeah, you know, like, RoboCop 3 was just something I like to forget. Right.
But at least we always have the original classic.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, I really would like to see that animated series come back. You know, like at least, you know, show it, but it only lasted for maybe 13 episodes. Yeah. So.
Yeah. There was also a Marvel comic, too, that ran for about
there was.
30, 40 issues. Ran for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. It dealt with him, you know, trying to reclaim his humanity and everything. So it had themes of the movie. They did censor a lot of the violence because remember they were under the comics code.
Right. I think I have the first issue somewhere around here. I grabbed one time just for cheap at Compalooza. I'm like, I'm a sucker for like movie adaptation comics. So I'll grab them and stuff. And I'm like, hey, first issue of RoboCop. I'm gonna grab this. So yeah, but but no, RoboCop's a cool character and a cool movie. And I don't think I think he'll make a comeback.
Oh yeah, I
if they
hope
do this sequel movie or something,
or a sequel, just a sequel to the TV series.
Yeah.
You know, just have it set after one and have Peter Weller just do the voice.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be fine with me. Put somebody else in the suit, let him do the voice.
well, just have a stuntman, and then maybe would you even where he takes the helmet off? Maybe would you have Peter Weller there?
Shoot, you could nowadays. Shoot, I mean, look at what they're doing with CGI.
That's true, but I don't want it to come across as. I mean, I want Peter Weller there, not somebody who's wearing his face. You know.
Yeah, you could do it. You know, if you'd be willing to.
No, because I mean, when I talked to him, he had a clear love of the character. But I think for the second one, I remember hearing something like it wasn't as fun as the first.
I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, plus I mean, it was hot as fuck outside. I mean, because he was even saying like, you know, pretty much like with the first one, you know, when you see him driving, he's only wearing the top part of the suit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they had to put fans in the suit, but they said it was still sweating and hot.
Oh, yeah, because it's so humid here.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine filming Houston, Texas with that suit on?
I've filmed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I filmed, what was it? It was in August, which is like one of the worst summer months besides July. I was in a suit, tie and everything, packed, you know, dressed to the nines. And I'm sitting up here filming outside of a house, and I'm playing like a TV newscaster. And this director made me do 30 takes.
Wow.
And we're filming at 2 o'clock. And I told him, I was like, look. And I was like, after 30 takes, I'm sweating and everything. You had to have like the little lady come and pat me down, you know, retouch my makeup after every take.
Wow.
And I told him, he's like, again. I'm like, what the fuck? And so, like I told him, I was like, look, I've done 30 takes. If you didn't get what you needed, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
and I went home. I was like, nah, I'm like, forget this. It ain't worth it.
So we'll make sure we don't put Jason in a Robocop suit.
Well, I'll tell you what, pay me millions of dollars. And
You'll do it.
I was doing that free of charge. I'm like, you ain't paying me nothing to stand out here in this hot-ass heat.
No. No.
And then they paired up Robocop with the Terminator, like I mentioned earlier.
I remember that comic book series, yeah.
Yeah, and I never really read it. I mean, I heard people who, you know...
I think there was a video game, too, wasn't
there was, for
Robocop
Super
Returns?
Nintendo and Genesis. Yeah, and the video game I've seen people play. Never played it myself, but, you know, it starts present day, and then you get sucked in like a little time loop or something like that, and then you're, you know, fighting something.
Yeah.
So, you know, with the comic book series, I think it was about... It was him trying to get sucked into a time loop, and he gets into the Terminator, and the Terminator sees him as kind of, I guess, like obsolete or something. I mean, I was reading the synopsis. I can't really remember too much about
I probably
that.
Got the books in boxes somewhere upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go and read that synopsis about it, or just fish, you know, my local Bedrock. But yeah, I mean, you know, they tried, you know, I guess, monetizing him as much as they could. Those action figures from the 80s with the caps and everything, those were really the best. And I know some toy companies have come out with, you know, a bunch of Robocop figures.
I know McFarlane did one too.
Yeah, he did one, and there's been like several since. And, you know, it's a character that, you know, we can look at now and say, yeah, you know, this is probably going to happen. You know, maybe, you know, a little, and we're probably not that far off. You know, where they're taking people and, you know, using them as meat. And really, the thing is, you could even say now that they just, you know, take soldiers and make them expendable. Right. You know, that's what, you know, our government does, you know. Take 18, 19-year-olds, turn them into killing machines. Mm-hmm. You know? I mean, so they're doing that now, but...
And then tell them they can't smoke until they're 21.
Yeah. You know, but I think that with this character, I like how they inject the theme of humanity.
Right.
You know, because the thing is, he just can't be a mindless thing. It doesn't really give it any gravitas to it, and he just comes off as one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You
no,
know?
that's a good way to put it. You know, a robot with a little bit of human element.
Yeah,
or a cyborg.
Because he goes back to I think at the beginning of the second movie, his wife even tells him, you know, his wife comes back to him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And she's like, you know, I have to start over. You know, you're not the man that I married. And
yeah. That's one thing I think the 2014 version did well.
Yeah.
Was the humanity side of it, where he goes and he sees his son and all that. Yeah. I thought that was one thing they did well.
I think at the end, doesn't he go back to him? Or?
Yeah. So that's one thing that the remake did well. And we'll see if they continue the story of Robocop Returns if it ever happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping it does. I mean, come on, give Neil. And you know what? I want Neil Blomkamp to do his Alien movie.
Oh yeah, I do too. All the concept art looked cool as fuck. I was
Sigourney Weaver is 70 years old, so time is of the essence. I mean,
yes.
Michael Biehn is about 9 years younger.
Be in his 60s by now.
61, 62. Yeah.
He was nice. I talked to him a few minutes. He was really cool.
I actually got to interview him.
Yeah. It was before I was even podcasting back then when I talked to him, but he was cool.
Oh yeah, he's very cool. I mean, I would love him to sign a not Johnny Rico, but his character from Tombstone. Because they just came out with the pops too.
Well, it's Johnny Rico.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why was I thinking Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers?
I think it's
the same name.
The same name. Yeah. But no, you got it right though. Yeah, Johnny Rico.
Casper Van Dien's a hell of a dude too.
Yeah. But all right. Anything else from RoboCop, Matt? You got everything you
Same
want?
composer as Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, Basil.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
You always find that Arnold connection.
Yeah, I had to. Had to make the Arnold connection. Two Arnold connections.
Speaking of Arnold connection, there is a GameStop exclusive coming out. Predator Dutch Schaefer, covered in mud.
Nice.
Oh, the pop. Yeah, I saw that.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I ordered it last night.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
I saw the pop that is covered, and there's a Predator GameStop exclusive too, right? Of the Predator.
Yeah, when he's trying to go invisible.
Yeah, that's right.
That one.
So remember, I saw that. I get Funko emails and stuff, and I think that's where I saw it. So yeah. But let's talk a little bit of news, man. Before there's not.
Wait, well, hold up. Before we talk news, are there any RoboCop pops?
I don't know if they've done one or not.
Let me check
I'd have to look.
app.
We'd have to look at the Funko app.
Yeah, because the app is awesome.
And
because I really haven't seen any. I mean, I'd be the first in line to give me some RoboCop pops.
I would think that Funko. If not, they're going to do it eventually.
Yeah.
They've done almost. I mean, that company.
Yes, there is. Back in 2013.
So they have done from RoboCop.
Oh man!
Probably when the new movie was getting ready to come out.
$38 if you want one.
Yeah, you can probably find. You might be able to find Compalooza for a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Just have to look around.
Mm-hmm.
But
let's get to news.
So we got a new. We got to look at Robert Pattinson as the Batman.
I like it,
and I'm digging it, man. There's people are being harsh on how big his face is. My thing is with that, like. Every actor's going to look different in the suit. You're not going to please everyone. I think Pattinson looks badass in it, honestly.
Well, you have to remember, these are the same people who criticized him being cast in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
And I tell people all the time, do not let Twilight be your guide. Be your guide as to who this guy really is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because he's really, really good.
I trust him.
Yeah.
Not only that, I trust Matt
Let Harry
Reeves.
Potter be your guide.
Yeah, I trust Matt Reeves. Yeah, I forgot he was in Harry Potter.
I liked him as Cedric. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Matt. I think Matt Reeves, man, his Planet of the Apes films were excellent. I think he's going to do a great job with this movie. I like the way the costume looks. The cowl does seem maybe a little small, tight on his face, but I'm wondering if maybe it's an element of the story,
Yeah, year one.
Yeah,
year one Batman, because I think
story.
it's supposed to be him 2 years into playing Batman. Then you got Zoe Bell, who's playing Catwoman, and I'm like, that is just so perfect.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be great.
Because the thing is, she reminds me so much of her mother. She can have those heavy eyes and that droll attitude, and And then they got what's his name, Paul Dano playing the
Paul
Riddler.
Dano, Colin Farrell playing Penguin, or at least Oswald Cobblepot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's the Penguin just yet. They say he's like his boss is the Penguin, apparently.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I like everything I see so far of this. I didn't hate Ben Affleck as Batman, but I never really liked his suit. I like this suit better already.
I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I loved him. To me, he was the best part of Batman Superman.
I didn't like the skin tight suit because it felt off because you had like the Flash wearing armor, Wonder Woman wearing armor, and then you had like Batman in the skin. It just felt like I don't know. It didn't gel for me with the rest of the suits.
I tell you, I really liked the way that Batman vs. Superman introduced Batman. Remember how like they said they find the guy with the brand and they look up and it's something out of a horror movie when he's moving so fast.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
And I was like, wow, so they're making him scary, I guess. And I really like that. And Justice League did humanize him a bit because he realizes he's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And the original plan was for him to die.
Yeah.
Right.
In the second one. So the thing is, and I was wondering, okay, if he was going to die in Justice League, then who would take up the mantle?
Terry.
But so far so good, man. We're about a year and a half away from the new Batman film, and Batman's like one of my favorite characters of all time.
He's become my favorite. It was Superman when I was a little kid. I was a DC kid when I was, say 2, 3, and I switched over to Marvel when I got in junior high. But I've gone back to DC because if you really read comics now, Marvel is okay, select titles, but really DC's doing a hell of a job. I want to say in the last 5-6 years with Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories have been just great.
Yeah, and good stuff.
And there's a new villain called Punchline that I'm really digging.
Oh yeah,
and
Joker's girlfriend.
Yeah.
We got a trailer for Stranger Things season 4, a teaser. I'm a little disappointed. I feel like Stranger Things is obviously it's super 80s influenced. And so I felt like why reveal? We know Hopper's still alive, but why reveal it? Because some of the fun is the mystery of the show.
Yeah,
it's I would have left it out of the trailer. I would have kept it a mystery of how we find out he's still alive.
Yeah, well, they're going to get to it. So
right,
they're going to get to it.
So I just felt like you're showing us too much, And but man, that show is as I wasn't as impressed with season 2, but I thought season 3 was really good. So hopefully they can maintain the quality of it. Because, sometimes with these shows that were designed to be just a miniseries, which was what the first season was supposed to be, one and done.
Yeah.
And then you try to stretch it and make more, will you maintain the quality? And hopefully they do with Stranger Things with season 4.
Well, it's going to be the last, so.
Is it going to be? Did they have to say that? They were talking about maybe doing 5, but if they end it, they end it. That's fine. I like the fact that you get the stories told and that you're done and that's it. We don't need to drag on for years and years.
Yeah, these kids are eventually going to get older.
Yeah, they're going to get too old.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can have them in high school.
Yeah.
But the thing is, do they have them enough story to tell, or do they want to tell the story of these kids, going into high school? Because I think there's going to be a time jump. So yeah, they are of high school age.
Yeah. And then the one actor, Finn Woodford, or however you say his name.
Yeah, he's in Ghostbusters.
He seems like he's in every other damn movie too, along with he's going to be in Ghostbusters. He was in
It.
He was in It.
Yeah.
So he's in everything anyway. So
his band broke up, so he's got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last bit of news, it was kind of not a huge week. Kevin Smith announced the cast list for his He-Man animated series.
Oh boy!
And man, it's a hell of a fucking cast list.
Yeah, my friend Jeffrey sent that to me on Facebook, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar's Tila. Yeah,
Mark Hamill's going to be Skeletor.
When I saw her name, I was like, is this live action?
Yeah, that's what I thought too at first, and then I was like, oh wait, no, because Chris Wood is going to from Supergirl. Monel, he's going to be Prince Adam.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great casting.
Conroy's Merman.
And they are bringing Kevin Conroy's going to be Merman. Henry fucking Rollins
Triclops.
Wow.
They are bringing Oppenheimer back just to play. What character? He's not doing Skeletor. He's doing Mossman, I think.
Oh, I think Kevin Michael Richardson is doing Mossman.
That's right.
No, Beastman. Oh, he is Mossman. Yeah. And Kevin Michael Richardson is Beastman.
And Jason Mead is going to be Stinkor. And people are asking, well, how come Oppenheimer's not doing Skeletor too? It's like, well, guys, he's in his 80 years old.
Yeah,
he probably could do limited acting. He can only stand up, I'm sure, so long. So,
he's got to sit down. He can sit down.
Yeah. Maybe he'll not be able to do Skeletor anymore as he gets older.
And the thing is, I don't think he could, because the last time I met him, they
said it was hard for him to do. Yeah, well, he's at Compalooza. Yeah.
But that's an incredible voice cast. I wonder if Kevin Smith is going to be.
I'm sure he'll appear something. But they, according to his post, they've been recording voices for the last 6 weeks. So that means this show's closer to getting. Because at first Kevin Smith was making it sound like we weren't going to get this till 22. But if they're doing voices already, we're probably getting it this year.
Oh yeah, we are. And Diedrich Bader is going to be King Randor.
Yeah.
And I loved his Batman. Batman Brave and the Bold.
Oh, yeah. Brave and the Bold was great.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking.
I liked him as Hostel Gatto in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, I've seen him in person. He's a big guy.
But that's all the news I got.
They should. I wonder if Brad Garrett is going to do a voice. Maybe he could do Fisto.
Yeah.
And you know, speaking of Brad Garrett, why has this guy not played Herman Munster?
Yeah.
I mean, he could be a great Herman Munster.
Yeah.
And get Patricia Heaton back as Lily.
I did watch it. Did I talk about that last week's episode, The Addams Family? I did watch the animated Addams Family.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was okay. It's more like the original comic series and stuff. Yeah. I did talk about it last week, didn't I? Yeah.
I think what's her name? Charlize Theron was in it, right?
I think she's
Morticia.
Yeah, I think she's Morticia. Yeah. And Oscar Isaacs was
Gomez.
Gomez. Yeah. No, it was pretty good. So it just made me think about that when you mentioned the Munsters, and I was like thinking, yeah, watch the Addams Family.
Yeah, they were on at the same time.
Yeah. But that's all the news I got. Like I said, not a huge week, but big news with the Batman suit. So that was pretty big news.
Yeah, I think that was something that everybody was looking forward to.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, and I'm sure we'll get more. Maybe a trailer by this summer.
Hopefully.
You know, at least a teaser. You know, or something. But let's preview next week's episode before we get out of here. I got a friend of mine. He's not really a podcaster yet, like we are. He's starting his own show. And he's going to come join us next week. His name is Matt also. Mm-hmm. And he just wants to get his feet wet, you know, so to speak. Okay. So he's going to come talk the Raid Redemption with us next week.
Dan jangan lupa bersenang-senang.
Oh yeah, great movie. There was actually some news on that this week where they want to do a remake. I think Joe Carnahan is trying to do one where he said that the way he phrased it was, it's not going to be the same thing, but it is, because like he's saying, like, you know, when they're trying to go get the guy in the building, but he's like, well, they're going to stay on the outside of the building. Then, you know, they don't want to go in at first, but then they're going to have to. I'm just like, well, that's pretty
still
much
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those movies that, like, Matt's actually never seen it. So
never.
I've been begging him to see this movie.
This will be my first time.
And it's one of those movies, like, when you watch a really great foreign film like this, and then you hear about Hollywood wanting to remake it, you always cringe, like, are they going to understand what makes the movie work? Are they going to understand why it works the way it does?
And plus, where are you going to find all the martial artists?
Right, all the martial artists that are there, you know, and to pull it off and execute it in the way that Gareth Evans did with his film. So, but it's a really great film. 2 is arguably a better film, but my OCD can't allow me to do 2 first. I got to do 1 first. You know, not literally OCD. Just I can't think outside the box like that. I gotta do part 1 before I can do part 2.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm like that too.
Yeah.
Like with certain video games, I can't just jump in. I have to go back to the beginning so I can understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just better if you watch part 1 because part 1 is great. I mean,
it's
the fights, the
action packed from the beginning to the end. It doesn't stop. It doesn't let up. Incredible fight choreography. Ultra violent, just like Robocop.
That's good.
Yeah, very, very much so. I mean, a lot of neck snapping going on, a lot of gunplay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll like it. You like action movies and martial arts movies?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is premier, man.
Is this like Hard Boiled, but with more fighting?
It's more martial arts than Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hard Boiled. John Woo's more gunplay. This is more martial arts.
Okay.
There is some gunplay in the raid, but it's much more martial arts.
Yeah, weapons and everything, unarmed, combat.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, part 2 probably has a little more gunplay in it than part 1.
And they're supposed to be making a third one. They were supposed to.
Well, now Evans is kind of thrown it on the back burner. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to get to it, because he's trying to break into Hollywood. He did The Apostle for Netflix, and he's talking about doing a Deathstroke movie for DC. So it seems like he's put 3 on the back burner. So I don't know if it'll ever happen. And of course,
is it Gareth Evans?
Gareth Evans. I say Garth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't he do the Godzilla stuff too?
No, that's Gareth Edwards.
Okay.
They're really yes. Edwards did.
That's why I was thinking.
Edwards did Godzilla and Rogue One, and Gareth Evans did the Raid. Yeah. So yeah, no, I get it mixed up too. And so I don't know if we'll ever get the Raid 3, but that's gonna be next week's show. The Raid.
But you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. And you know what? I think it's probably good that he hasn't seen it, so he can be pleasantly surprised.
Oh yeah.
It's always good to get like that fresh perspective.
Yeah.
That
it blew my mind when I first saw it. Then when 2 came out, I kept trying to go to the theaters to see it, but it had such a botchy release, like they do with a lot of foreign films, and I never could make it to the theater to see it. Like it showed up at Willowbrook over here for like 1 week and just couldn't make it.
Yeah, I saw Ip Man 4 over at Dunvale.
How was that?
I'll say this. I think the second Ip Man is the best, but I still like the Scott Adkins. Why is this guy not a big star? Tried out for Batman, by the way.
Oh.
I think he was trying out to be the one for Batman Superman, because I think it was either that one or the one that Christian Bale did. And I think he would have made an excellent Batman because he looks the part and he can fight. This guy here is a lifelong martial artist, but for one reason or another, they didn't. He's done, Universal Soldier Regeneration. He did all the Undisputed movie.
There was another Universal Soldier movie?
No, there's been a bunch of
them. Oh, yeah. There was a I think there was a... No, there wasn't a TV show. There was a TV... I think it was a TV show. And then there was a Universal Soldier 2 that was very cheap looking. Yeah. And then they did the one where Van Damme came back and Goldberg was in. Yeah, Michael J. White, another
J. White.
Yeah, another great guy, and I miss meeting him by a few seconds at Comic-Con and when he was promoting Black Dynamite. And, those guys could be in the American Raid.
Yeah. They should do like an American Raid a la Expendables, but with all these martial arts guys. Put in friggin' Jackie Chan, Michael J. White. If Jet Li could ever get healthy, Scott Adkins.
I think Jet Li's he's really too feeble right now because the way I saw him looking, he is not looking too great right now. Yeah, and then you can get maybe Chuck Norris again, Statham.
Right.
They're supposed to do like a lady Expendable.
Really?
Get Cynthia Rothrock and get Don the Dragon Wilson. Like all these, Billy Blanks. Come on,
right?
Billy Blanks. Yeah, oh my God, Tybo.
Yeah, Cynthia Rothrock was like if you went to Hong Kong and mentioned her name, she was pretty popular.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a bunch of her movies on Tubi. Which is where I watch all the Japanese versions of Power Rangers.
Oh wow,
and they're damn awesome.
Nice.
That's funny. Before we do get out of here, we have another Patreon. Charles, he joined our Patreon. Thank you, Charles, for joining up. I always forget to do the shout-outs at the beginning of the show, so I hope they listen to the whole show and hear their shout-outs.
Yes.
And we just launched our Patreon a couple months ago and just did our first exclusive episode in January, so go to the rebelradiopodcast.com and hit the little Patreon button and join and get an exclusive episode at least once a month, sometimes more, depending on how busy we are. Matt's fixing to have a 4th kid, so he's going to get busier.
Yes.
Sorry, man.
Congrats, man. Hey, thanks. Bundle of joy, dude.
Yeah. It's a gift.
You got 4 kids to take care of you when you get older.
That's right.
Right. And thank you, Jason, man, for coming on the show.
Hey, appreciate
Bayou
it.
City Geeks. Everybody go check his stuff out.
Yeah, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, just trying to grow the show. Trying to.
What's your Twitter handle?
Twitter handle, Bayou City Geeks.
Bayou City Geeks. There you go. Nice and simple.
Yeah, and we're on Facebook, like I said, and YouTube. We need some subscribers, so go and check out our interviews and all. And we just love to have fun. We love to do this. And also to all you Houston podcasters and vidcasters, support one another.
Yep.
We don't grow, alone. We grow together. Because we can't do it alone.
Yep. That's the way we do it. That's why we
right.
go on each other's shows and retweet, like everybody's stuff, and just support everybody the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
And but thank you for coming on the show again, man.
Hey,
This was fun. Talking a really great movie.
Absolutely.
And always welcome to come on and hang out with us. And
we got to do a really bad movie. That's what we got to do.
And that's kind of like our Patreon. We were talking about doing bad movies on it.
Yeah.
And but we might. I'm thinking about leaning that into the regular show too.
Yeah.
Doing some bad movies and stuff.
I mean, like Battlefield Earth or The Room or. Let me see, what's another bad movie?
Like for February, we're going to do Ghost Rider for the Patreon.
Yes, that was a good one. Let me see. You can even do Spirit of Vengeance. Spirits of Vengeance. That was a bad one.
And April.
Barbed Wire.
April on the show.
Flop.
It's going to be sequel month, so we're going to do sequels to the movies we've done. So our Patreon that month's going to be Highlander 2.
Awesome. The Quickening. Was Mario Van Peebles in that one?
That was the third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Quickening.
But wait a minute, because Sean Connery came back for that one.
Yeah,
and there were people wondering, how does he come back if he died?
Right.
Yeah.
So we got some good stuff coming up. But this has been Mark, I guess.
This has been Matt. I also guess.
And Jason Elliot from Bayou City Geeks. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh man, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. And please go to RubberRadioPodcast.com. Follow us on our social medias too as well. And thank you as always for listening. Until next time, just
go there and do it.
Hey, this is Marky Ramone, and you're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast.
Hey, Headbangers, this is Rudy Sarzo, and you're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast.